it's Jen and Summer with the Life, Love, and Money Show. And I'm super excited because in this week's episode, I have the honor and pleasure of interviewing my amazing partner, Summer Watson.
Oh, thank you.
She is an evaluation and success coach, podcaster, and producer, and a doctor of psychology. And so we're in for a treat. We're going to be talking about a day in the life of an entrepreneur, specifically hers. So welcome, Summer.
Thank you. Thank you. Amazing partner. And I'm so happy to always be here with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's go. The first one is give me a glimpse of your day.
What day are we on? That's the first glimpse. Okay.
I love it. I love it.
Okay. So as we roll into this, I'm a late night person. So my day is a little bit reversed. So Jen over here, she's an early bird. I am absolutely the opposite. I like my quiet time at night. I love being able to do things where nobody will bother me. The world is asleep. So because I stay up till 2, 3, maybe even 4 sometimes in the morning, I tend to get up a little bit later, just depending on, if there's somebody else who needs an early morning meeting that needs to fit into my schedule, or if I have an appointment or whatnot. So my mornings start out around 9 o'clock. I start out by, getting up, then looking at my emails, looking at my social media, who I have to respond to, because one of the things that's really important to me is creating relationships. It's not just solely networking. It's not just solely reaching out and saying, hey, let's exchange a business card. No, that's not what I'm about. I'm about really nurturing and creating relationships. So social media, because we do a lot of the work that we do from home, social media is a huge aspect of our business. And so, at least for mine, and so I start by responding to people, responding to emails, and doing all of that business, and then jumping into meetings. So then it's meeting, and then it's planning meeting, and then it's also direct service. So we have to remember too, as an entrepreneur, and I have to remember too, that with all the things we do, branding, marketing, building relationships, we have direct service to provide to actually make money.
Yeah.
So, and here's the thing, I'm not embarrassed to talk about money, to talk about making money, because as an entrepreneur, we're trying to afford a life, trying to make sure that we can pay our bills, that we can go beyond, maybe just paying our bills and doing something that really helps us support the lifestyle that we want to have.
Yes.
And being able to flex that so that we can take time off, care for our wellness, make sure that our family's cared for. And that also is there. But when you're beginning, there's a lot on your plate. And so, I've been in this for about 4 years now as an entrepreneur, 4 or 5 years doing the core women business as a coach, as a podcaster, as a producer. So there's a lot of juggling there. And so basically that's a glimpse of my day. And that usually goes into the later evening as I then begin to plan for newsletters, marketing, reaching out to people that I hadn't been able to reach during maybe the day. So yes, that's what my day looks like.
I love it because I can tell that the connection is one of those things that is super, super important to you. And that's a value for you.
It is.
The connection, because it's a very clear theme that's something that runs throughout the day for you from the start of the day to the end of the day. So Thank you for sharing that. So my next question is, what gets you most excited about being an entrepreneur?
Connecting with people, bringing people together. So one of the key features in Core Women, and that's KORE, for me is, and even with the Life, Love, and Money show, is connecting people either on our show, in a seminar, in an in-person seminar, a digital seminar, in a group chat, maybe in a talk that we're doing, a digital talk that I've put together. It's about connection. Why? Because those relationships that you build and nurture, and for me, this is what gets me so excited in everything I do, is it builds and supports your brand, your business, and your community. So everything you do in relation to building those relationships, nurturing those relationships, builds your business, supports that business. So that's what gets me excited, Jen.
I love it. And you know what, guys, this is so true of her. She is an amazing master connector, amazing at building relationships. And she's so incredibly well skilled at connecting people and saying, oh, you got to meet this person. You got to meet this person. And so I want to say thank you so much, because you've connected me with amazing people. And it's just been such a fun ride to do this with you, and I just sit back and just like, wow, she's so on it. She's so awesome at this. So I love that about you. Yes, you're welcome. And so what are some challenges that you have confronted as an entrepreneur? Why don't you share some of those with us?
Okay. So the biggest one, our assets can also be sometimes our liability. And so we have to know that when you're an entrepreneur, it is about also making money. You're not a hobbyist. And so when you look at it from that perspective, I do love connecting with people. I do like bringing people together. But if my whole day is focused on doing all of that, where am I doing the direct service? And that can be a challenge, because putting the brakes on, you can't do all that connecting, have meeting after meeting after meeting, just connecting folks, or getting on in the background and doing DMs and connecting folks, because that's going to take up your entire week. That's going to take up your entire day. So there's also got to be a balance there in relation to looking at, this can be something that I'm really great at, and it can be an asset, but what's the percentage of time that I'm putting into that? And what's the percentage of time that I'm also putting into my direct service? And many times I have to look at that and be really clear with myself, like, okay, as much as you love this, you still have to pull the reins back a little bit, because you need time to meet with your clients.
Oh my gosh. I love that you said this. And thank you for being so honest about it, because this is so key that you say this, because so many of us will confuse busy work versus like the real work. And the thing that I love about you is that you have so much awareness of it, and that you're actually stopping and pausing and asking yourself, like, wait a minute, I love this. And do you have those days where you just wish, like, man, if I could just do this all day and get paid to just meet with people on Zoom and talk and just connect? I mean, how amazing that would be. And so,
right?
Right. I think about it all the time. Like, if I could
just I would be seeing dollar signs like everywhere.
I'd be like, oh, I just want to feel inspired all day and get paid to do this and connect with people.
Right.
It is one of the things I do love, where you get this excitement, you feed off the energy of other inspired people, right? I love ideas, and like, oh, you need to meet this person. Oh, and they ask you for your opinion, and then you share it, and it's just like, it's just a wonderful way for exchange of ideas, and like a mini think tank in your session. But I love that you're very clear, though, that you're like, wait a minute, I actually have to do the work too. And so as a new entrepreneur, a lot of us, and sometimes even people who've been doing it for a while, we forget and stop to, we don't realize that, wait a minute, I actually do have to do work, and I shouldn't be making excuses or confusing like certain type of work like that as, I'm being busy, I'm working on my business. It's like, no, come on now.
But I do have to jump in here, though, because here's the big component of this. Because I'm a coach, because I'm a podcaster, because I'm a producer and bring people together in films, in in-person digital seminars, all of that is building relationships. And all those relationships, when you go past the initial network or the dating phase, like the initial meet, right? You're then beginning to create an investment in one another. Mm-hmm. So when you do that, that is actually contributing to your work. So it's not just busy stuff, but realize that when you do actually build those relationships, those people are going to want to support you out in community. They're going to want to support your business. They're going to want to be on your podcast. They're going to want to, make sure that your podcast is seen by other people. So these are the things that are so critical when, yes, although you might have busy work, think how that busy work might support you in total too.
Yeah. I want to make one more point on this before we go to the next question. The thing that I think makes you so different is that your building relationships is very intentional.
Yeah.
I've seen many times where people just go, coffee after coffee, and I'll ask people, well, what did you do? Well, I haven't followed up, and then it goes nowhere. Right. And that's the difference with Summer, is that you're very intentional about why you're doing it. You keep in mind, like, how can I connect this person? How can I help other people? That is the difference with you versus somebody that is doing it for busy purposes. And do you see what I'm saying? It's like,
I absolutely see what you're saying. Yeah, and plus it's one of my values.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what has been most rewarding for you as an entrepreneur?
Meeting with incredible people. Yeah. I just love their stories. I am so inspired. Like, I know Jen's inspired by stories, but she's also inspired by new programs. Like that. That's Jen, and new startups. Like, Jen loves that. I'm inspired by people's stories. I love them. We all have a story. All of our stories are so valuable, and I want to hear them. I want to know what they are. I want to know what motivates you, what your internal motivation is, what you've overcome, your tenacity. Those are the things that really get me fired up and excite me, is those relationships, hearing other people's stories.
Yes, I love stories, especially the people that were the underdog, started from nothing, or just took a traumatic experience and turned that pain into purpose and into a passion that could help other people. So yes. And if you guys have never caught her podcast, Corwin Podcast, tons and tons. How many episodes did you celebrate?
Oh, well, so far, I think we are on 212.
Woo!
212. Yeah.
Yes. So if you want amazing, inspiring stories about these amazing women who have done incredible things, check out the Corwin Podcast. Okay. So plug for the podcast.
Thank you. And I want to quickly do a plug for our show, the Life, Love, and Money Show, because again, there's where we meet with people. We tell our own stories, we give tips, but we also meet with folks who tell their stories. And by golly, if we didn't have a story last week.
Oh, geez.
Oh, my.
So good.
So good. So good. And you can catch the Life, Love, and Money Show on Instagram at the Life, Love, and Money Show page, because I'm telling you, all of the guests that we have on have incredible stories. Join us on Thursdays. Okay, there's a plug for Life, Love, and Money Show, because Thursday, seriously, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we go live. All right.
Yes. So with that said, I love this question. Did you have a business plan before you got started?
I did. I actually had a business plan.
Of course you did. I believe that you did.
I did a survey. But here's the thing. I knew that it couldn't be perfect, because as an entrepreneur, it's a living thing. We are always going to evolve. Our business is going to evolve. It's going to shift. It's going to change. So just start. Get something written out. Get a one-page plan. Get a one-page plan, but know that it doesn't have to be perfect. I started out with a survey because I wanted to know what the needs of women were, or are. And so to me, that was really important. I'm a researcher by nature, just by who I am. I love to research, by trade. I've got a doctorate and a master's that focuses on research, qualitative and quantitative research. So of course I'm going to do that. I'm going to apply that to, how can I serve the demographic that I'm looking at? How can I better serve them? What is the demographic that I'm looking at? What are their needs? So I wanted to know that kind of stuff before jumping all in, because I also needed to know, what's my brand going to look like because of who I'm trying to target? What are the questions that I'm going to ask? How am I going to reach these folks? Where are they at? So those were the questions I needed answered for myself to be able to actually start my business, because I didn't know where to necessarily start from or where to find these folks. So that's why I needed a plan.
I love it. So see, you're so intentional. And here I am, I reverse engineer things.
That's okay. And And I love that you said that, Jen, because we all have our own process, and that's okay. But this is why I love people's stories, because even with Jen, she's so courageous. She just jumps right the heck in, right? And so I'm like, okay, all right, just jump in, Summer, just jump in. And that was like the podcast. I was like, dang, I don't know what I'm doing here. So if you listen to the early ones, I'm like, wah, wah, but they're okay, but they've evolved and gotten better because, I've gotten better at my process. But did I know what I was doing when I started a podcast? Not at all. But I knew that I wanted to do one. Why? Because it met with one of my values to make sure that I connected and built relationships and community. And podcasting helps with that tremendously. I can go anywhere in the United States and probably know somebody, or, just being a military spouse as well around the world and probably know somebody.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, that's such a great tip, Summer, about I didn't know anything, but I did it and I got better. And so that's such a wonderful piece of advice to give to people when it comes to starting their entrepreneurial journey. What other tips do you have for somebody that are either thinking about starting a business or becoming an emerging entrepreneur?
Just start. Number one, just start. Take a deep breath and lean into your fear, because there's a lot of different things about entrepreneurship that you don't even realize, until you get into it, what you're going to do about it. And then as you start building your relationships in your community, you go to other entrepreneurs and ask or listen for suggestions about A, B, or C that you might have questions about. Here's a tip: build your community, build your entrepreneurship community around you. Because if you go to somebody like a cousin or a sister or who doesn't have a business, you might be asking the wrong person, because, and I'm not saying they don't have wisdom, but here's the thing: they haven't been through the process. They don't know what the expectations are when you are an entrepreneur, or what that looks like, and more importantly, what that feels like. And so you don't want to feel like you're an island and alone. So please, 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 one of the biggest tips I have for any emerging entrepreneur, or even somebody who's been in the entrepreneurial space who feels alone, go make your community, build your community. It is so valuable on so many different levels. The second tip I have is, because I am an evaluation and success coach, look at the variables or factors that you function from that is helping your business or supporting your business. And until you know that, you might be missing something in your business that's either not there or not supporting you, that maybe that you haven't looked at, that you need to look at in regards to what are the variables and factors that are really going to help support your business. And that's something that I will help somebody with, either an individual, a solopreneur, or a company. Look at and evaluate the factors that are going to support or are hindering their business process and their success.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love that you ended with that, because you gave people who are listening and people who are in that space of, well, what do I do now? I think I have an idea. Summer is amazing at that. And so make sure to get in touch with her, get a hold of her, set up some time to meet with her, because she can really walk you through those steps to get started. So with that said, thank you for being my guest that I get to interview on our show.
Thank you.
This has been such a blast. I love that we changed it up a bit. And so for those of you who caught this episode, let us know in the comments below, what is one of your favorite tips that Summer has mentioned, especially, even let us know, what are your thoughts about building relationships and how that can support your business. So with that said, thank you for being here. Make sure you hit the like button, and more importantly, hit the subscribe button down there below, and make sure to turn on those notifications so that when we have more videos come up, you can catch them. So thank you again, Summer, and thank you to all of you who are catching this, and we will see you next time.
Take care. Ciao.
Bye.